Welcome to G Fun Facts Online, where we dig into the stories that shaped our world. Today, we're journeying back in time to the Andes Mountains of South America, but we're not just looking at stones and pottery. We're looking at what ancient people were inhaling and ingesting to connect with their gods and, more importantly, to control their societies. It turns out, getting high was serious political business. Let's start at a place called Chavin de Huantar in Peru, a major ceremonial center that was thriving over 3,000 years ago, long before the Inca. Archaeologists recently made a groundbreaking discovery here. Inside massive stone buildings, they found bone snuff tubes. And when they analyzed the residue on these tubes, they hit the jackpot. They found traces of wild tobacco and, crucially, vilca beans, a powerful local hallucinogen containing compounds related to DMT. Published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, this is the earliest direct proof of psychoactive plant use in the Peruvian Andes. But here's where it gets really interesting. These snuff tubes weren't found in a public plaza. They were in small, private rooms, suggesting access was extremely limited. This wasn't a party for everyone. The prevailing theory is that these potent substances were reserved for the elite, the priests and leaders of Chavin society. Imagine the power this gave them. By entering altered states of consciousness, perhaps in front of select audiences, these leaders could claim a direct line to the supernatural world. It was a way to legitimize their authority, proving to the common people that they were special, chosen, and powerful. This wasn't just a random spiritual practice, it was a deliberate strategy to build and maintain a social hierarchy. And we now know they were likely mixing vilca and tobacco, making this the oldest evidence for inhaling that specific cocktail in the Americas. Of course, the Chavin weren't the only ones. The use of psychoactive plants is a story woven throughout the entire history of the Andes. The use of coca leaves, the source of cocaine, goes back at least 5,000 years. It was a part of daily life, used to fight fatigue and altitude sickness. But eventually, the Inca Empire began to centrally control its distribution. Another powerful substance, vilca, has been used for at least 4,000 years, with evidence found in Argentina and Chile. But perhaps the most incredible find comes from Bolivia, a 1,000-year-old leather bag, a kind of ancient shaman's pouch. Inside, researchers found traces of not one, but multiple psychoactives: cocaine, compounds from vilca, DMT, and even psilocin, which suggests the use of psychedelic mushrooms. This is the largest number of psychoactive substances ever found in a single artifact from the continent, suggesting ancient peoples had a complex understanding of pharmacology, maybe even combining plants to create specific effects. And not everyone was so exclusive. The Wari civilization, who were around from 500 to 1000 CE, apparently added vilca to a corn beer called chicha. Instead of restricting it to the elite, they might have shared this psychoactive brew during feasts to build relationships and forge alliances with other communities. So what does all this tell us? It shows that for ancient Andean civilizations, psychoactive substances weren't just for shamanic healing or individual spiritual quests. They were a fundamental tool of society. They were used to build power, to structure communities, and to legitimize rule. Controlled access to mystical experiences was political currency. It's a fascinating look at the complex interplay between religion, power, and chemistry in shaping the ancient world. Thanks for tuning in to G Fun Facts Online. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, be sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into history and science.